You guys asked for it and the day has finally come. Here we are in 4v4 doubles Regulation F in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. This is going to be a journey for me, climbing my way up the ladder, and so I want you guys to see every step of it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if you want to see more VGC content from me, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're actually aiming for about 200 likes on this video, and if we can hit that, I will try my best to keep this content going. Big shout out to Ad from the Battle Hub Discord for creating this team. Be sure to join the Discord server for all your battling needs. There is a link in the description down below. And with that being said, let's jump straight into the battles. Alright, this team looks pretty interesting. They've got the Articuno, which stands out to me, and they have the Blissey, which is annoying. We do have Chien-Pao, actually looks like it does really well here, which is great. We don't really... Well, we've got Rillaboom, which could be good for the Azumarill and the Urshifu, his Rapid Strikes. Also the Blissey to some extent. So I think what I might do is, I'm feeling like Rillaboom leads, and I'm looking at their team and I'm thinking, you know what else does really well here? Entei potentially could do well. We need something that's going to take on that Annihilate, though. That's the real problem we've got. So I am going to lead Chien-Pao and Rillaboom. And then what I'm going to bring along is, well, not Porygon, because Porygon gets bought by the Annihilate and the Iron Hands and the Urshifu, which they probably bring. I'm leaning towards the Gyarados. Gyarados could be good with that Intimidate for the Annihilate, etc. No, they have Defiant, right? Yeah, I don't want to fall for that ploy. Articuno is going to be a tough one to deal with, so I think I bring Entei. And then I think I bring Gyarados. Gyarados could be good, but then again, if they belly drum with the Azumarill, I'd like to have that Thunderclap. I think I'm going to bring the Gyarados, and then we'll kind of go from there. And the battle begins. So, Ben's going to lead out with Annihilate and the Azumarill, as we lead off with the Rillaboom and the Chien-Pao. So they're probably going to look at the Chien-Pao and think, that's a threat right there. And they're probably going to go ahead and go for a Final Gambit. If they are Choice Scarf Final Gambit, which was around when I used to play VGC, but I don't know whether it is now. I'm going to go for that Grassy Glide on the Azumarill. And I'm going to go for that, I'm thinking Icicle Crash on the Annihilate, to be honest with you. I feel like that's a good idea, so I am going to go for that. I'm going to go on the offensive straight away. They do withdraw the Azumarill. They can't really keep it in against the Rillaboom, which makes sense. And they're going to go into their Iron Hands. Iron Hands is still not going to appreciate the Grassy Glide too much, given that it's stab, boosted by Grassy Terrain, etc. There we go, nice damage. As we go for an Icicle Crash now on the Annihilate, which is unfortunately going to... It does half, and it flinches them. We get a clutch flinch straight away. So, first VGC game of Reg F is just like going well so far. Now I can just go for a high horsepower on the Iron Hands. They may Terra Flying, I don't think they will. And we're going to go for an Icicle Crash on the Annihilate. Well, I'm hoping they don't anyway. So we go for another Icicle Crash. It lands. It takes out the Annihilate. We are good to go. So Annihilate is down. That's a big threat out of the way, which is what we like to see. It's definitely what we like to see. So we go for a high horsepower. There we go. And it's not quite enough to KO the Iron Hands, but it does put it in a position where we go for a heavy slam, which does nearly over half to us. We are going to get some of that Grassy Terrain recovery back, which is going to be nice. So does the Iron Hands, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Urshifu comes in. Which one is it, though? Looks like it's the Dark type one. So, we go for a Grassy Glide here on the Iron Hands. And then we go for a Sacred Sword on the Urshifu. That's pretty much the only way I can go around this. Unless they double protect, but if they do, then they do. But they go for a Grassy Glide on the Iron Hands. Get a crit. Not that it mattered. Iron Hands goes down, so we're off to a really good start for our first game. Once again, shout out to Ad from the Discord server for, you know, sorting this team out. So Sacred, wow, there's loads of damage. As they go for a CC, that's going to take out Chien-Pao, obviously. But we don't need Chien-Pao. We do not need Chien-Pao to win this game. We have got our nice and powerful Rillaboom right here. And it takes on both the remaining Pokemon just nicely, so that's great. So we're going to bring Entei in, and the reason I'm going Entei is because I want to go for that extreme speed on the Urshifu, just in case he carries Sucker Punch and decides to try and get some damage off on something. We can just Grassy Glide the Azumarill now, and then we go for that extreme speed on the Urshifu and take them out. If they go for Protect, they go for Protect. If they don't, they don't. Extreme speed comes through. Down goes the Urshifu, which is fantastic. So we are off to a very good start. I'm loving it so far. Double battles have always interested me, but I've never really got around to doing them. So let's go for that Grassy Glide. Should take out the Azumarill as it does. As there we go, that's GG Ben. That was a pretty fun one. I enjoyed that one. But with that being said, let's get on to the next one. Okay, this next team has got some pretty interesting Pokemon. They've got the Rhydon, probably with the Eviolite, the Alolan Muck, which is cool, the Weirdeer, which is really cool, Garchomp and Gyarados. I mean, we've got Gyarados, so it's not standing out too much, but I'm looking at this matchup and I'm thinking, you know what really goes off? Chien-Pao really goes off against this team. So I'm going to bring that. I'm also going to bring the Raging Bolt. Do I lead with Raging Bolt, though? That's the real question. Because they've got 2 ground types, but they also have the Gyarados. So I think I lead with Rillaboom again. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did last time, but I am going to bring that Raging Bolt just in case. And then I think Gyarados will be really useful because they have a lot of Pokemon that are affected by Intimidate. So I'm going to go with that, and we'll just kind of go from there. And the battle begins. Good luck, have fun, Jacob. So they lead off with Rhydon and the Alolan Muck, as we lead off with Chien-Pao and Rillaboom. So this is a great matchup for us right off the bat. And we can just go straight for the Icicle Crash on the Alolan Muck, and then we can go for a Grassy Glide on the Rhydon. So I'm going to go at... Oh, no, I nearly Sucker Punch then. I'm going to go for it on the Muck, and I'm just going to go for... I might actually go for a Wood Hammer on the Rhydon, because Rhydon's quite bulky. It might actually take the Grassy Glide. I know it's 4 times super effective. No, they don't take the Grassy Glide. There's no way they take the Grassy Glides. So we go for a Grassy Glide. They stay in, and they take it like a champ. Not really. They go down. So Rhydon goes down. So that was a pretty interesting first turn. We go for an Icicle Crash. Are we going to miss? We don't miss, which is nice. And nearly down goes the Alolan Muck as they go for an Acid Spray. And this is the beauty of VGC. You see so many like random sets that just like on paper, well, to me anyway, don't make much sense. But at the same time, there must be a strategy behind it, right? So in comes Weirdeer. This thing goes down to our Chien-Pao big time. They do get the Intimidate off, which is unfortunate, which is going to lower our power just a little bit, but I have a feeling Chien-Pao's Icicle Crash is still going to KO that Muck, whereas in our Rillaboom's situation, I'm leaning towards something else. I think they have Sap Sipper, right? So I kind of want to go into our Gyarados. I feel like Gyarados could be good here. I also feel like Raging Bolt could be pretty good, but I'm mainly leaning towards... You know, let's scratch that. Let's go for an Icicle Crash on the Weirdeer. And let's go for a high horsepower on the Alolan Muck. I think that's a good idea. So we go for the Icicle Crash. We don't miss again, which is great. Hax is on our side today. Still does loads of damage with a critical hit as we go for a high horsepower now. And they avoid it. Interesting. But the Weirdeer flinches. So the Hax is on our side today as they go for a nice and powerful Poison Fang, which is not going to poison us, which is great. But that is fantastic. So this second game looks like it's a W. What I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase all of the battles that I have. If we're going to climb the ladder, I want you to see all of them. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go for a Icicle Crash once again, but this time I'm going to go for it on the Muck, and then I'm going to go for a high horsepower on the Weirdeer because I'm not sure if it's Sap Sipper or not. I don't know whether it gets Sap Sipper without checking. I don't face Weirdeer very often to check. But the Alolan Muck goes down, which is fantastic. Goes down for the count, and then we go for a high horsepower and hopefully don't miss. We don't miss, which is nice. Weirdeer goes down. Fantastic. I love shiny Weirdeer. It looks really cool. It's nice and shiny. You gotta love it. Gyarados comes in. Looking amazing. I love Gyarados in this game. He does get this second Intimidate off, which makes me think maybe I should switch out here. I am going to switch out the Chien-Pao and go into Raging Bolt. Because they won't go for an Earthquake, that's for sure. They probably go for a Dragon Dance or something along those lines. But for my Rillaboom, I'm actually going to stay in and I'm going to Wood Hammer this thing in the face. That feels like the best thing to do. So I withdraw the Chien-Pao to reset the Intimidate so I can get my stats back up. And I've got the Focus Sash, so if they do set up any Earthquake, any Dragon Dances are out, we have Chien-Pao in the back that can still hit it really hard with Icicle Crash. So we'll get that booster energy with the Raging Bolt, boosting our special attack. And then we go for a Wood Hammer, which is going to slam that Gyarados into next week, which is amazing. Recoil is a thing, but it is what it is. Have you noticed that in these last 2 games, this one included, no one's Terra'd? I haven't Terra'd. My opponent hasn't Terra'd. Interesting, right? So let's go for a Thunderclap, and then we'll also go for a Wood Hammer on the Gyarados, just in case they go for an status move. But it looks like they don't, as Gyarados does go down, and that is going to be the game. So GG Jacob, that's a fun one. Okay, this next team looks like a lot more of a challenge. They've got the Skeledirge and the Ogerpon, which stand out. Our Chaludon is also a standout with Hydrapple. Greninja is an interesting one. I didn't expect to see that in VGC, but here we are. And the Okidogi. So I'm looking at this matchup and I'm thinking, do you know what actually does really well here? Porygon 2. Porygon 2, other than the Skeledirge, obviously. So I think I'm going to go ahead and lead with Gyarados. Get that Intimidate off on the Ogerpon if they lead with that. And I'm going to lead off with the Porygon 2. This could be a mistake, by the way. Chien-Pao, if you get rid of that Skeledirge, does really well against their team. So I am going to bring that. And then I'm leaning towards the Rillaboom for the Greninja finishing off. But Rillaboom struggles against most of their team. Skeledirge, Okie Dokie, yeah, it struggles against most of them. So I'm thinking of not doing that. I might break Entei for the extreme speed. I don't know what happened to my voice just then, but you know, it is what it is. And the battle begins. Good luck, Adamus. So they're going to lead off with Ogerpon and Munkidori. I thought it was called Okie Dokie in the team preview. That's my bad. We lead off with the Gyarados and the Porygon. So this is not a bad matchup by any means. We get the Intimidate off, which is really good for that Ogerpon. We get the download on the Porygon 2, which unfortunately boosts our attack this time. And now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to switch out this Gyarados. Because this Ogerpon's going to slam us in the face. I've just realized my entire team is weak to Ivy Cudgel except from Porygon. So we may have to just try this. So I'm going to go for a Waterfall on the Ogerpon. And then I'm also going to go for a Ice Beam. What's Electro belows your speed, right? That could be useful. That could be useful. I think I'll go for the Electro Web just for this turn. So they do go for an Ivy Cudgel, but it is lower in attack, so it shouldn't KO. It doesn't KO, which is great. We get the Berry Pop, which is nice. Going to restore some nice health there with a Citrus Berry. And then they go for a Psychic on the Porygon 2, which is going to sting a little bit with a critical hit. So that's unfortunate. They do get the Toxic Chain, which is really unfortunate. But it should be fine. We just go for a Waterfall here, and that should... Yeah, I was going to say about half to the Ogerpon. So we go for the Electro Web now, which is going to lower their speeds, which is amazing. Absolutely fantastic, lowering their speed right there, Porygon 2. Just in time for the next Pokemon to come in after this. So I should have brought Rillaboom instead of Entei for the Ogerpon, because Ogerpon's a threat right now. So I could Terra Dragon here and get that, not on the resistance, but a neutrality to the Ivy Cudgel. But I feel like we outspeed anyway because of the Electro Web. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go for a Recover with Porygon 2, just because I feel like I need my health back. So the Waterfall comes through. We do outspeed thanks to the Electro Web. Ogerpon goes down. So as a threat averted, you know, we may have brought not the best Pokemon to bring against an Ogerpon team. But at the same time, we got through it. We didn't lose a single Mon to the Ogerpon. So we got the Recover off with the Porygon 2 as well, which is amazing. Getting that health back up to full. And now let's see what other Pokemon they've brought to the fray. I feel like they have brought the Pokemon that I didn't want them to bring. Greninja. So Greninja is not a Pokemon that I didn't want to see by any means. Greninja is really cool, actually. I wasn't expecting to see Greninja in VGC, to be honest with you. So I am going to go for a Thunder Wave on that Greninja just to see if I can. And then I'm going to go for an Electro Web on both of them to lower the speed of that Greninja strategically. So they go for a Rock Slide, which is boosted by Protean. Or Protein. Is it Protein? Porygon 2 avoids the attack, luckily, but Gyarados gets the full brunt and goes down. So that is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's fine. We can handle this. They go for a Psychic with a Munkidori. We're going to eat that up because we're Porygon 2. There we go. And then we go for an Electro Web, which is going to lower the speed of the Greninja, which is very important because Greninja is fast. It's a very fast Pokemon, and lowering its speed is super important. Super duper important. So what we can do now is we can go Entei if we wanted to. We could Sacred Fire that Okie Dokie. Or we can go Chien-Pao. I kind of don't want to go Chien-Pao just yet. I want to save that. I feel like Entei is best for taking out this Okie Dokie. So in comes Entei. There we go. I love Entei. It's such a cool Pokemon. So let's go for that Sacred Fire or Stomping Tantrum Bear. I think Stomping Tantrum is better on the Munkidori. And then we'll go for a Recover right now with Porygon 2. Because I definitely want to get that health back. So they go for another Rock Slide, which is interesting. So that's going to do some good chip. We get the Stomping Tantrum off, though. Which is definitely going to KO the Munkidori. Like so. And now we get to go for a Recover with our Porygon 2. Luckily, the Rock Slide didn't do too much damage to us. And it didn't flinch us, which is nice. I'm quite surprised that the Greninja outsped us. To be honest with you. As Porygon 2 is now going to take that Future Sight attack, which doesn't do too much damage, which is great. But the poison is racking up. So this next turn, what I'm going to do is I am going to go for another Electro Web. Skeledirge comes in. So this thing is a problem. That's the Pokemon I didn't want them to bring. I am going to go for a Stomping Tantrum on it. And then I'm going to go for an Electro Web with Porygon 2. They are probably going to go for a Rock Slide with the Greninja, but it should be fine. as they actually go for an Ice Beam on the Porygon, nearly taking it out, as we go for a Stomping Tantrum now, which is definitely going to do, I was going to say half, but it did nearly half, as they now go for a Shadow Ball on the Entei, which is going to bounce off it because of the Assault Vest. Electro Web comes through. There we go, lovely jubbly. Get a crit on the Greninja, which is really nice. We lower that speed of both of those Pokemon. Now the Greninja definitely doesn't outspeed us, but we do lose Porygon 2. So this battle's becoming closer than I would have liked, but it is what it is. And they probably have slack off on the Skeledirge as well, which would be interesting. So we'll bring Chien-Pao in anyway. Chien-Pao likes this matchup pretty well. We've got Focus Sash, so we can definitely do some work here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to Stomping Tantrum, or am I going to Snarl? Snarl would be cool. Snarl would be very cool. I think Stomping Tantrum KOs Skeledirge from there though. So now I'm going to go for a Sacred Sword on the Greninja, and I'm going to go for a Stomping Tantrum on the Skeledirge. So Greninja does go down, which is great. Greninja going down is amazing. And then we go for a Stomping Tantrum and hopefully take this thing out. So Stomping Tantrum comes through. We don't miss, do we? No, we don't. That's good. Skeledirge goes down, and that is going to be the game. So brilliant. That was a fun one. We won 3 out of 3 of our first 3 games. To be expected. No, well, not to be expected. Not to be expected. To my surprise, that's what I was trying to say. To my surprise, because I really thought I was going to get owned, and I think I did pretty well, considering I'm not very, fluent in VGC. But anyway, here is the team. Use the code at the top. Right corner of the screen. Thank you so much for the team ad. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, of course, leave a like, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. And with that being said, I'll see you all in a bit.